Hello, and welcome to Manga Mommies.
A podcast where we chat about, you guessed it, mangas, and occasionally our lives as parents.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Kyo,
And I'm Kel.
and we are your host on the show. We hope you're having a great Monday. So please, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat. Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be talking about the manga of the month. Ooh, it's spooky season.
Booby.
The most wonderful time of the year. The time of pumpkins and pumpkin spice everything, and spooky music, and corn mazes, and campfires, and s'mores, and cocoa, and horror movie night.
Apple crisp.
Oh, yeah, apple crisp with classic slashers, and murder mysteries, and suspense, and thrillers. Supernatural, and tween romance. Twilight. And more.
All of it.
All of it, yeah. However, since it is spooky season, we've decided to provide you with a special double feature manga of the month.
So we've offered two selections. One of them is more of a dark fantasy and a lot less spooky. And the other one is a dystopian horror that's for 18 plus.
A special treat from us. Or a trick if you're brave.
Booby.
Both will be on the shorter side, and each will have a different spice level, as Kel's just mentioned. However, depending on your horror level, you can pick one or you can read both. Woot, woot, woot.
So for our less spoopy pick of the month, we have Vampire Night, which is classified as a dark fantasy, romance, supernatural. It was written by Mitsuri Hino. Its original run was from November 24th of 2004 into May 24th of 2013. It has 19 volumes. So a little bit about this manga. Yuki's earliest memory of a stormy night in winter, where she was attacked by a rogue vampire and rescued by Kanami Kuren, a pureblood vampire. 10 years later, Yuki is the adopted daughter of the headmaster of Cross Academy, Cayenne Cross, and has become a guardian of the vampire race, protecting her childhood crush, Kaname, from discovery as he leads a group of vampires at the elite boarding school.
Ooh.
Ooh. Booby.
And yes, going into this, I am aware, I know this is somewhat of a disclaimer, I am aware that this one does have a little bit of spiciness when it comes to the manga versus the anime, but it is a lot less spicy than our second pick, which, disclaimer, read at your own risk, contains explicit content, very graphic, viewer reading is advised.
This is called Starving Anonymous. Again, this is 18 plus. It's classified as a dystopian horror science fiction. It's written by Yu Koraishi. Its original run was from March 11th of 2016 to November 5th of 2018 and has 7 volumes. This one is set in a dystopian near future facing climate change and shortages. Teenager Ai's riding the bus home from school when all of the passengers begin to pass out. They've all been gassed. Ai wakes up within a horrifying facility where captured humans are farmed, bred, and experimented on by other humans in a cultish service of large, monstrous, insect-like creatures that they hope will save the planet. Ai teams up with 2 others, Netsune and Yamabiki, who have similarly avoided being trapped, and the 3 attempt to explore and escape the facility, countering other horrific revelations along the way.
Ooh.
This is probably the mildest way that we can describe this manga. It is definitely something that I would not recommend for those with a weak stomach.
Again, 18 and plus. 18 and plus only.
Yes,
Like,
extreme viewer discretion.
we are not responsible for your eyes and your soul being damaged for what you have read. Again, a trick if you're brave.
Yes. And Vampire Night is your treat for being so good.
So
So good.
anyway, I hope our lovely audience had a good, 2 weeks without us? Oops.
About that.
Heads up, I was the problem in all of that issues, and I apologize so hard about it. I was in the hospital.
All is well. She hasn't died yet.
They try. They try so hard. No, like seriously, I was in the emergency room waiting to be called back. And granted, yes, I did have a heart attack. It's just having to be looked at in a different light because it's not done by clotted arteries. They're thinking that it's either my main arteries are spasming shut, which is cutting off supply to my heart, or if I did have a clot, it was so tiny and I have to see if I have like a blood disorder that would make it happen. It's a whole thing. I may update you in the future, may not, don't care. Anyway, was in the emergency room and in pain because I'm level 37, just turned 37 actually. My birthday wasn't too long ago. I guess they somewhat didn't believe me that I was actually having a heart attack. I think they just thought I had indigestion. So my mom's panicking, which I understand. She's my mom. I love her. Everybody panics. And I'm texting her. And at one point, I'm in pain so much that I go really dark in the humor. Like, I'm really bad about doing really dark humor. Kels can tell you.
Oh, it's fantastic. I appreciate every single minute of it.
Right. So I text her because she was just like, "What's the update?" And I'm like, "So, well, they took me down to the morgue to have a tour of the morgue. It could use a heater. It's a little chilly, but overall, can't complain."
I mean, it's so nice they were gonna let you pick out your own bed.
I know. It was so nice. He was so mad at me. Every time. I still have it screenshotted because it was so funny.
And I'm just sitting over here and I just get a text message out of nowhere that says, "Hey, can you please put out like an I'm sorry, the episode's late. I'm currently in the hospital." And my first thought's like, "What'd your dumbass do this time?"
Right?
And I mean, you just like the absolute complexity of it because like you didn't even have a traditional heart attack. You're like, "Give me this, but add a twist."
Yeah, and it's the same thing that happened in 2019. Like it was just, but this time it hurt a lot worse. So like it felt like burning. It went into my shoulder. It went down to my arms and my fingers. Like my joints could feel it. It was really weird. Like y'all, if y'all think you're having heartburn, just go get it checked out. I don't care if they laugh at you later. Just go get it the fuck checked out. But
Mhm.
yeah, it wasn't traditional in the sense of in 2019 I had again somewhat chest pains. They weren't really as hard. It was kind of more like a inconvenient heartburning feeling that radiated in down my arm and it just felt kind of weird. And they had done EKG was fine. All the tests were fine except for the blood test. The blood test, which is what they do to check for proteins in the blood, came back at the 3 hour mark, triple what it was. And then after that, 6 hour mark, it was tripled again. I don't know those numbers from back then. The doctor this time was even like, I don't know, you sure it's not like you got pain in your belly, like indigestion kind of? I was like, no, this is pretty much like last time, except for it just hurts a lot worse. It's at a level 10, and I really wish you'd give me something for it, but I can understand that you won't, because, drug addicts or something. I don't know. And I'm 37. Cool. God. Anyway, the 3 hour test happened. He goes, "Oh, wow, it's 2019 again. It came back the same way." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, I was right. So glad. Can I have that medicine now to make it stop hurting?" It went from normal of it was at the 0 mark, was like at 12, and it jumped up to like 416. And then after that, it was 4,815 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like astronomical difference.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're so young. This is weird." And I'm like, "Duh, bitch."
It was definitely something where I was like, You good, fam? Because like I can't put out this podcast without you."
Poor Hubs was so freaking out. I felt so bad for them. That man has went through a lot of shit. And like 98% of it ain't my fault. Like it's just shit that happens in my life. And the poor man just
And then there's just all of the dark humor that was just the rest of that week.
pretty
It was
much.
oh,
It
like
was
I'm sitting there laughing my butt off because I know it's dark humor. I know that's how you cope.
yeah.
And like that's totally fine. And then you're over here like Hubs is just mad at me and like
Yes, he
because I
is.
crack a joke and he doesn't understand it's a joke and he gets all
Oh,
upset.
oh no, he understands it's a joke. He just don't like the joke because it's hitting a little too close to home. Me and him have jokes back and forth, but there's sometimes where he does does not like my jokes, which I understand fully.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, right after a heart attack with a twist is a rough one when he's had to see you go through it. Like, I'm in a different country. I'm like, if she doesn't text me, maybe she's sleeping. If I don't hear from her in like 24 hours, I'm gonna contact Hubs and see if she died.
Yeah.
But there ain't so much I can do from here.
Yeah, so like 2019, they chumped it up to a type 2 heart attack, which is unknown cause. There was no damage, there was no clot arteries. I had the heart of a teen. I had a healthy heart. So nothing was done. It was pretty much like, oh, it may have been your anxiety because I had a lot of anxiety as well. No, let me rephrase that. Still have a lot of anxiety. I'm on medications for a reason, but but it was mostly around like my job environment. And then, well, this time, since it happened again, did the MRI this time. How they discovered was a little scar on my right ventricle that they can't determine if it was a actual blood clot that did damage or if they're spasming. So I'm supposed to go see a blood doctor to see if I have a genetic issue. And if I don't, then they're going to chum it up to I have spasms and I'm probably going to be put on medication probably for the rest of my life to try to keep it from happening, which isn't genetic. It's a thing that just happens. Great, that's nice. Somewhat hoping for the latter because I don't want my kids to have something genetic. So.
I agree.
And I'm actually glad I had my last son, before this happened because that would have been just horrible.
Yeah.
Because it was weird. It's like I was put on the maternity floor like last time, and I was put in room 266 like last time. So like it literally felt like I went back in time.
I mean, on the upside, it had the same results as last time. You're still alive.
Yeah, it was just more painful this time than last time, which I guess set off more red flags. But again, like I said, I completely understand where most of my family comes in when it comes to my dark humor. Because if I'm not doing it, then there's a problem. That's how I see it.
Pretty much, yeah. Like the minute you start talking to me and it's not, copping just absolute insanity, I'm like, "You good, bro? Like you haven't insulted me once this entire conversation. Are we okay?
Right.
Are you
Like
okay?"
2019, my mom was just like, everybody, everybody's worried about you. So they keep texting me, but it's killing my phone. And I was just like, then tell them I'm dead. They'll stop the conversation. I got hit. I got smacked for that.
Yeah.
Yo, no.
I mean,
But I mean, he's my poor Hubs. He's been through a lot because that happened. I was shot at. It was a miss thing with the house. That's a whole other story. I have been accidentally walked in on a robbery in progress. Just going into the store. I've
I feel like there needs to be some sort of interactive thing that's just Kyo's trauma bingo, and then we just all pick because the stories are so astronomically you had to have been making this up,
and I swear a
but
lot of
you're
people would
not.
like after what originally happened with the house and with the shooting when I was shot at. For a while I wanted to go on TikTok and just you know, tell everyone my story. But then I was like, no one would believe me. Like nobody would believe me. Even though, there's documentation of it, I have the number. It's cold case now. They never found out who actually did it. Which sends another shock into your system of if you actually died, you would be actually considered a cold case murder.
Mhm.
So, it's just I'm sorry. I have to live with dark humor because there's nothing else I could do mentally. Unless I spiral, and that's not a good thing. But there's
Yeah.
just yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff that just happens randomly in my life. Just kind of go with it.
It is some of the weirdest stuff because you will start a conversation with like, "I need to talk," and I'm like, "Oh god, what now?" And it's not, "Oh god, what now? I don't wanna listen to this." It's, "Oh god, what now? What sort of bullshit shenanigans have you managed to get yourself into by existing
Right.
that we now have to talk about? Because if we don't talk about it, you're going to go insane and I'm gonna have too many questions, and that neither of those are good things."
Right. Just like in the very beginning, when we introduced ourselves, I said I had a lot of stuff in the save file. There's a lot of shit in the save file.
I'm so happy this isn't live because I have the urge to just be like, "Press 1 in the chat to make Kyo's freaking trauma bingo."
Right? Or
Like,
subscribe now, and if we get so many followers, we'll go live and we'll have discussion night.
oh my god, could you imagine having one of those, like, 2 truths and a lie with you?
When I was in college, that was. That was actually what we had to do. 2 truths and a lie. I always got everybody.
Well, yeah, because it all sounds like a lie.
I think that's why everybody picked me for group projects.
Because I mean, like, I have known you for several of many years now, a lot of them. I'm not counting, but it's been a hot minute, pre-COVID, and like, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, there's still some stuff you'll tell me about your past, and I'm like, I know I should believe you, I know I should, but
Which is
right
valid.
now,
So valid.
right now, I need to ask 37 follow-up questions because I feel like you're freaking pulling my leg right now.
Is it documented? Probably not, considering I grew up in the era of video cameras were just now starting to come out.
Yeah,
So it's not like it's a picture, it didn't happen, or it's was it a ring camera footage or it didn't happen? I don't even have a
yeah.
ring camera still. I live in the same house. Eventually I'll put up one, I just haven't.
Yeah. And then there's me with like, it's not Ring, it's the Amazon version. It's like the
It's
Blink
still a
camera,
camera.
but I've got like one for my doorbell on my front door. I've got like a floodlight camera in my backyard because like I've had shit stolen recently and they were brazen enough to walk into my backyard up on my porch and just prop my porch door open with my plant
Yeah.
so that they could just take things at their leisure because I wasn't home. So now I'm just
Yeah.
like, mm-mm.
See? Thieving can happen anywhere. Any
Yeah.
country, any state, anywhere in
Yep. They're lucky I was not home.
the Yeah, pretty much.
Like, at least this time it was just more of an inconvenience than anything. I went to the store and rebought it all. It cost me less than $200, but it was just like, "Really?"
Mhm.
I think the most impressive thing was they stole an entire pack of cigarettes that had 1 cigarette left in it, but took all the garbage that was in that pack. They didn't just take the cigarette out, they took the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
You
very crazy. Trying to chillax.
In an
All that.
attempt to recover and
Mm,
stressing yourself out, thinking you had to come back way sooner than you did.
well, I just want my listeners to be happy. And I know they expect it the whole what, 2, 3 we have.
All one of you, we really appreciate you reliably listening. Thank you.
Right?
From the depths of our little broken hearts,
Right?
we appreciate all one of you.
I'm just like, eh. Though if I was like to wake up and we were like blown up, I'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I think I would have another one. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I would be doing in that situation because I don't get to see the numbers. That is not my role in all of this. I am here for a sounding board and occasionally comedic effect. And
okay.
apparently pronunciation of all of the Japanese names.
Yeah, it's a hit and miss for me. It really is. Like I have to be able to focus correctly to get that because it's just
I mean,
it
I
is a
am
big
I am butchering it. I'm guarantee you, but I am butchering it with confidence. So somebody probably will correct me at some point. But we haven't had any Asian listeners yet that I am aware of, at
no.
least from Asian countries.
No.
So I can get away with it for a little bit longer.
Nobody's correct us at all because nobody I think so anyway. But no, it's just trying to chillax, which is hard because, I have 2 under 2. So it's not easy to relax.
No, not at
Especially
all.
when they were like, "Hey, you can't with that one arm that we did stuff to, you can't lift anything over 10 pounds for like 2 weeks." And I'm like, "That sucks because my 2-year-old is like 30 pounds and my 6-month-old, I guess technically 7-month now, is 18 pounds. So how am I supposed to do this?" They're like, "I don't
Yes.
know, good luck."
How do I? Yes. But that doesn't
Yeah.
explain just yes.
Yeah. Guess what? I've been breaking the rules and lifting up my children. I mean, what else
I
am I
mean,
supposed to do?
'tis the season to hear screaming children.
Well, it's not even the screaming children. It's I have to pick up one to from like, the crib or wherever he's placed just to change his diaper or just to give him a bottle. And then the other one, he's halfway independent, but he still, likes for me to pick him up, a typical toddler. So it's just one of those things. I just kind of bite the bullet and hope for the best, which I mean, it's healing fine. I think their main concern was it opening, and I don't think it's going to open anytime soon. So,
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're as careful as you can be, and I think I speak for everybody when I say thank you for being on the mend. I
yeah, I'm
appreciate
fine.
that.
I am fine.
You and your dramatic ass heart.
I just, oh, I didn't even want to go. I was just like, oh, and then when I was like, oh, it's heartburn. It's just heartburn. It's just heartburn, Kyo. And then it would hit the shoulder, and I was like, nope, it's not. Okay, everybody pack up. Mommy's going on a trip. 3 hours, almost 4 hours later is when I finally got medication and everything for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
it was
long time.
yeah, some of the doctors and some of the nurses in there who I love to death were not happy about what the ER did because they were like, "Oh, your EKG's fine, so I don't think you're going to see the doctor anytime soon. So here, just wait out in the waiting room. We'll get you whenever we can." And it was literally like me between it went from like a 10 to a 5 to a 10 to a 5 pain like in my chest, like burning and pulling
Mm.
and pushing, and it was horrible. Yeah, it was about 3 hours, and they finally pulled me back. And even they were like, "Are you sure you're?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty dang sure about what's going on because this has happened before." Dr. Kameni's just like, "Oh, you're right," and I'm like, "No shit, Sherlock." And here, let me get you some medicine, and we're gonna start you on an IV drip to try to help keep you from having any heart damage. Apparently, too late for that
Mm.
because I have a little scar, and now I can say that I have a scarred heart.
You're breaking your own,
I have a scar on my heart from when it broke, but it's functioning fine. So, I mean, yeah.
which is always good. So, just as a little aside for this, for those that don't want to hear anything about our 18 plus dystopian, heavily disclaimered
Horror fest.
horror, if you don't want to hear anything about Starving Anonymous, we decided that we are going to break apart talking about each of the manga of the months so that they are two separate little mini episodes instead of one big combined episode. So if you're just listening and driving or something else where you don't have the ability to just quickly stop it when we do switch over, then you're not hearing something that, you're uncomfortable with. So the next couple episodes will be released back to back and they will be shorter episodes with us talking about this when we do talk about it at the end of the month.
Yep. And they will be pointed out with the name of the manga on the title, so you're not going to get them confused. The more graphic one, you will get quite a warning before we even start. So I'll probably have our lovely disclaimer in the front. So,
Yes. And for those of you who are brave enough to read both, that you get a lovely treat on this trick or treating this at the end of the month, where you get to listen to two mini episodes. So it's kind of like a bonus.
which upon recording should have fallen around Halloween. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. So we can have a
We could
blast that
release
night.
them on Halloween.
We could.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Just listening to us ramble on about manga while you wander around with your children in the spoopy night. Will they acquire candy that you shall like hoard from while they're sleeping and
Well,
just tell them that
hopefully,
it was bad candy?
well, hopefully you're listening to it with headphones on. I would not listen to it, especially the more graphic one with the speakers. Let's not traumatize the children.
Yes. If you made it this far in the episode, we want to say thank you. We couldn't do this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For Manga of the Month, the PDF, copy, or free website will be located below. If you feel up to it, like, subscribe, or share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.